Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Abubakar Ahmad back with another video. For my final project this year, I am doing polar bears. Let's dive right into it. So, what's a polar bear? A polar bear's scientific name is Ursus maritimus, and its current status is that it is very vulnerable. It's expected that by the year 2050, the current polar bear population will decrease by 30%. The polar bear evolved from the brown bear in order to endure its extreme cold climates up in the Antarctic subcontinent. Uh, Habitat. Polar bears, they live in extremely cold climates in the Antarctic subcontinent. They're mainly concentrated around the North and South poles, as you can see in this picture right here. They gravitate more towards sea ice, islands, and continental coastlines. They love being around water, snow, ice. Some of the countries that they tend to live in are Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Norway. Nutrition. They love eating seals. They get 90% of their calories from seals. They love eating walruses, narwhals, beluga whales. Their diet mainly consists of fat. They eat 2 pounds of fat per day, and they also eat a lot of protein, which helps fuel them throughout the day. When they're low on food, they'll eat about anything. They'll eat rodents, insects, other land animals, creatures. They'll go through human garbage waste, which is sad. Locomotion. They can walk up to 20 miles per day for several days in a row in order to hunt their prey. They love walking slow. They rely on the tiny bumps at the bottom of their feet, as you can see in the picture in the right-hand side below. That's called papillae, the tiny little bumps. We have these on our tongues, and what they do is they help keep them from slipping on ice. So it's sort of like a grip on their feet. It keeps them protected. They also love to swim after eating a large meal. They love to cool off in the water. They love swimming, or they swim to close the distance between them and their prey. They use it for hunting. Respiration. So they have similar lungs to any other mammal. They breathe in oxygen. They exhale CO2. Nothing too special. That's the anatomy of the polar bear's respiratory system. Uh, They don't experience a drop in heart rate because they're very well insulated, so they have very regular monotone breathing patterns all the time. They can hold their breath for up to 2 minutes straight. That's the maximum amount that they can hold their breath for. Excretion. So the excretion is almost the same as humans. They gain most of their water from seal blubber. They don't have to urinate often because they're very efficient with the amount of water that they take in. Uh, And they have several kidneys, unlike humans, we only have two. They have several different multi kidneys in order to filter out the blood and produce urine. Just like dogs, they sweat from their mouths and their noses. And that's a bear peeing. That's the excretory system for the bear. Reproduction, the male has a penis, female has a vagina, same reproductive organs, nothing special. Females, they breed about once every 3 years. The male to female ratio for female breeding is 1 to 3. So there's a lot of competition for females, a lot of competition for the males. Uh, each bear has several breeding partners during its lifetime, so they're not in a committed relationship. They're not married. They don't stick with each other. They mate, they leave each other, they find another mate, they mate again. They breed with hundreds of bears in their lifetime. There's not a committed relationship. Another interesting fact about these bears is that they ovulate after they breed, right? So humans, we ovulate before we breed. So it doesn't take a lot of breeding to fertilize the egg. However, these bears, they can breed for up to a week. Like they breed for 3 hours in a session. They breed for 3 hours every day for a week because they have to increase the likelihood of fertilizing the egg. So they breed a lot. There's 6 stages of growth for a polar bear. They're at birth, the cubs are blind, they can't see. They don't have teeth. They depend on their mother for food and warmth. and then they grow up. They grow up very fast because the milk that they are drinking from their mother, it has a lot of minerals, vitamins. It's very rich in fat, a lot of fat-rich milk. And then they follow their mother around to learn how to feed, how to hunt, swim, and survive on their own. And then once they've grown strong enough to survive, they leave their mother. And then by the time spring rolls around, they're 4 to 6 years old, and then they start mating. They start having little other tiny little baby cubs. And then denning is basically hibernation. After mating, the female bears they build themselves a den and basically like a nest in order to stay in throughout the winter and take care of the cubs, rest, heal. And then death. They live up to 25 years max, which is a lot. I mean, for bears. And then they can die from diseases, hunting, climate change, uh, evolution. So the oldest, closest ancestor for the polar bear is the mammoth, the woolly mammoth. Uh, Today it's the brown bear or grizzly bears. All these bears that you see down below, they're all ancestors. They're all related to the bear. They can actually reproduce. All these bears, they can reproduce with the polar bear. So that just further proves that they're genetically similar. If a grizzly bear and a polar bear they breed with each other, then they produce something called a pizzly, half polar bear, half grizzly bear, a hybrid. Um, yeah, so 70,000 years ago, a group of brown bears they separated because there was a lot of scarcity of food and a lot of competition, and they basically became isolated around glaciers and extreme cold climates. Many of them died because of famine and disease. And then after generations and generations of reproducing, they started to develop adaptations in their new cold glacier environment. And then I'm going to talk about these adaptations in the next one. Okay. Uh, so some of the adaptations that they have, camouflage. They're obviously very white. They have lots of white fur. They're very light in color. Uh, and that's because they have to blend in with the snowy environment around them. Uh, they also have very thick fur. And the fur it has a lot of layers. There's like several layers, and the reason for that is because it has to radiate a lot of heat, which helps keep the bears warm and insulated during the winter. They also have a lot of sharp teeth. Um, they're not munching on vegetables and berries and fruits all day like brown bears. I mean, they have to bite into seals, walruses, whales. You can't find any fruit in the Antarctic. You have to eat fish. You have to eat live creatures. So they started to develop these sharp teeth as well. How do they interact with their environment? Interaction with the environment for polar bears. So, they're alpha predators. They're at the very top of the food chain. They dominate the food chain. They don't have anybody else higher than them. After them, there's aquatic animals and plants. But these guys, they're definitely very dominating. They're alpha predators. They dominate the food chain. If the bears were removed from the food chain, it wouldn't make a crazy difference. The seals and the walruses, they would definitely increase in population. The greatest competitors for this animal are each other. They don't have any competitors. Like they're not competing against other species or other creatures. They compete against each other because there's, especially with what's going on today, the global warming situation, sea levels are rising, so they compete with each other a lot. Many of them are dying because there's a lot of scarcity of food and there's not a lot of ice for the bears to walk on, and many of them are drowning, which is it's very sad, sad, pitiful, shameful situation that we have today. Very, very, very pitiful. So these are my picture references. You know, Miss Hatsios, you said that you wanted the picture references. I have all these picture references on this slide. Uh, and then I have the information references, all these links. This is where I got my information to make this slideshow for you. Yeah, so I hope you guys are having a good quarantine. Unfortunately, there's a curfew now. Now we can't leave the house after 11. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside, and pray to hopefully make this situation better. And yeah, happy 2020, happy graduation. It's been a great year. Uh, Kate kato.